All right, shalom to elect Israel, to the whole elect Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, foreign Israelites, like the other nations, scattered across the four corners of the earth. Want to give all praise to Barak, how Barak, Yahawashi, Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, name of the Heavenly Father. Everybody ultimately calls God. His true name in the ancient Hebrew, which is in the Rawchaa Qadash, his true name is Yahawah. Bahasham means in the name of Yahawashi, the Holy One of Israel. Everybody ultimately called Jesus Christ, so-called Negro from the tribe of Judah, who was slain at the foundations of the earth for the salvation of the elect of Israel. Then you got 2/3 of the wicked Israelites here in America, Babylon the Great, and the other wicked Israelites scattered across the four corners of the earth that have come back to the loins of the elect after the destruction. The Rawchaa Qadash is the Holy Spirit that's been bestowed upon the men. The Heavenly Father gave his only begotten Son out of the world to complete this work. So we always want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, that's true. Been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to pray, show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness of wrath, to also part of the elect, to the hopeful elect. Lord, will we part of that number? Lord, when it's be edifying us, we fear the name of the Lord, striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah 3:5, it is not slack. 2 Peter 3:9 is unto a ring. 2 chapter 5, verse 42. Shabbat Shalom. Now you still believers out there tuning in here and on after. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, Barak Atham. And gonna start right here. And we're just gonna go into this topic. It's not letting me pull it up. Hold on. That's weird. Okay, let's try this one. Okay. So the title is, Secrets of America, Babylon the Great. That show Stranger Things. It's about Project Nina, and I think it's Kulagina, Kulagina. I think that's how you say her name. But that's really what it's talking about. So we're gonna go into that, and we're gonna go into a couple other things around this. Let me see if I can go down here and find one. Yeah, we can go there, but that's not the one I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna jump down to here. All right, so basically, a lot of these movies that they're putting out, they're really based on events that occurred on the earth. So this is another, revealing to the hopeful, of course, the start with the men, it's going real slow. Hold on. That right there. Yeah, that's 20. I don't know why it's not fine. It's been issue with it. Just give me a sec. I just had it pulled up. I'll just go back to the other one. Let's go up to this one. I kept saying they couldn't find it, but it is right there. So this is 2nd Esdras, chapter 8, verse 62. And it reads, "These things have I not showed unto all men, but unto thee, and a few like thee. Then answered I and said," and this is, basically the Lord talking to Esdras. Verse 3, "Behold, O Lord, now has showed me the multitude of the wonders which thou wilt begin to do in the last times, but at what time thou hast not showed me." But we coming into that time to where, it's evident that the end is near. We can't be like, exactly what day it is. But, he showed us a lot of things in the earth, man. Once you really start researching things, it's a lot of things that Jake don't really understand that really be going down out here, So we're going to go into, because I want to kind of correlate this with, we did camp, and our last camp was going into the world being turned upside down. And that's what this information is doing. It's making people, it's basically causing disruption, to our people. We're talking about to Israelites, this message in the earth it's revealing everything to where, it's disrupting their normal life that they want to live here in America, Babylon the Great. And this is the same thing that was happening, around the time that we were teaching, in the days when Yahawashi was on the scene. So we're going to go to Acts chapter 17, verse 1. This is Paul at Thessalonica, right? He's at the church of Thessalonians. Okay. Now, when they had passed through Amphipolis or Amphipolis, I think how you say that, and Apollonia, I think how you say that, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a synagogue of the Jews, right? Talking about Israelites. And Paul and his manner went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scriptures, opening, alleging that, right, Yahawashi, how they say Christ, how we say it, the ancient Hebrew is, which is the Rawchaa Qadash, how you say Christ is Hamashiach. We speak about it all the time. Must needs have suffered, because Mashiach just means anointed. That's not his name. You know how they try to say, like, in church they go Jesus Christ, they act like Christ is like his last name or something. No, it just means anointed, and his real name is Yahawashi. So it says that Hamashiach must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead, and that this Yahawashi whom I preach unto you is what? Hamashiach. He's saying he is the anointed. Okay. And some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks a great multitude, and of the chief women not a few. So when it says Greeks, this is really talking about Israelites that were scattered, through the 4 corners of the earth. And these particular Jews were from the Greek captivity, under Alexander the Great and ultimately Antiochus Epiphanes. That is why our people was in that day speaking Greek, because we had just came out of that captivity into the Roman captivity. Okay. Because you can't be a devout heathen to the Lord, because he didn't give them the law. He didn't give them That's why he said, do not go to the Samaritans. He said, go to the lost sheep of Israel. And when he was saying Samaritans, it's because a lot of these heathens were put in the land, okay, after they got taken from us when we were in captivity. Okay. That's what it's talking about. So, and the chief and of the chief women, not a few, right? So it was all these people out there. But the Jews which believe not, because Jew goes back to Judah, southern tribe. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Judah is the so-called Negroes. Benjamin is the so-called Jamaicans, and Levites are the so-called Haitians. So it says they believed not, moved with envy, and took unto them certain lewd fellows of a baser sort, and gathered a company and set all the city on an uproar, and assaulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out to the people. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, these have turned the world upside down. These that have turned the world upside down are come hither also. And that's what we're doing today. Our people, that's why, a lot of our family members, when you come in the truth, they stop talking to you. They stop trying to be around you because, like, for some reason, Jake thinks that, like, we're here for everybody. We're not here for everybody. We're here for the elect. We're here for who believes in Yahawashi. And the only ones that are going to do that are Israelites, because that's who he came to die for. So that's why it's causing an uproar, because they've always heard, from Esau, even the so-called white man, that everybody can get saved. So they're tripping out about it. You got all these people online talking about how much they hate the Hebrew Israelites, how much we don't know what we talking about. These are these same people, these same spirits that are on our people that's back, acting the same way because of what we saying, man. So it says, whom Jason hath received, is verse 7, and these all do contrary to the decrees of Caesar, right? Who was Caesar? He was a so-called white man. So that's what we're doing. We're doing everything contrary to what Esau, even the so-called white man, does. We ain't celebrating no holidays. We ain't out here, doing all this weird stuff that Esau is allowing in the earth. So we're turning the world upside down by coming against it. So it says, and we saying the Lord going to destroy it. So it says, and all these do, and these all do contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is another king, one Yahawashi, right? And they troubled the people and the rulers of the city when they heard these things. That's how it is today. When you hear us talking about this stuff, it's troubling, the people of the city. That's why people, be online complaining about it. Then you got certain people who come to the camp trying to disrupt the camp, man, because it's causing an uproar. And when they had taken security of Jason and of the other, they let them go. So now Paul is at Berea, and the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night into Berea, who coming thither went into the synagogue of the Jews. See, this got everything to do with Israel. This ain't got nothing to do with no damn heathens. So it says, these were more notable than those in Thessalonica, and I think it might be Thessalonica, either one of the two, and that they have received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so. So that's why you see us today as GMS. We do a video every day, damn near. Some brothers do more than one. Okay, and every day we searching the scriptures. Every day we waking up and we're looking into this at some point of the day. For us in GMS Oklahoma, we do it every morning. Every morning we in this. We don't miss a day doing that. Whether we got to work, whatever, we in there searching this, because that's what it says that Israel was doing in that time. That's why he said, consider the days of old. That's why we do that, because if we were those people back then in that day, that means that's in our spirit to do that, to go into these scriptures on a daily. Verse 12, therefore many of them believed also of honorable women, which were Greeks, and of men, not a few, right? But when it says honorable women, what does that mean? They kept the law. So you know this is talking about Israelites, because Israelites were only ones given the law. Psalms 147, 19, 20. They're only ones given the law. So these are talking about Israelites the whole time. And men, not a few. But we were called Greeks at that time because, like I said, we were in that Greek captivity. They were calling us Greeks. You know, that's why they asked Paul, they said, can't you speak Greek? Because they knew that that doesn't mean that he was actually a heathen. Greek is just a language. Okay. But when the Jews are, it's a custom. It's a customs as well along with that. But when the Jews of Thessalonica had knowledge of the word of the Most High was preached of Paul at Berea, they came thither also and stirred up the people. Okay, this stuff that's going on today when we teach this. You got particular Jakes pulling up on the camp. You got one time Waka Flocka pulled up on the camp talking shit. This same stuff happening today. And then immediately the brethren sent away Paul to go as it were to the sea, but Silas and Timotheus, which is Timothy, abode there still. And they that conducted Paul brought him to Athens, and receiving a commandment unto Silas and Timotheus, for to come to him with all speed, they departed. So now Paul's in Athens. And the point is, kind of in like, down like in the 22nd chapter verse, but I wanted to read through all of Acts, most of it just so you can get a gist of what was going on in that time. So Paul at Athens. So now while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him, and when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry, and that's how it is today. Like that's why I said, people will be lovers of themselves. That's adultery, worshiping yourself, and that's how most of these people are. They taking 100 damn pictures of themselves every day and online talking about even stuff that don't even matter. Like I just woke up today and taking a picture before work of themselves. Like have a good day. Like this is all is just self worship at the end of the day. Most of these people that's on this stuff, they don't even really talk to each other, don't even really know each other. So, like I said, man, a lot of this is just adultery. And this is how it is with our people today. Therefore, disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews, because that's how most of our people think. They think like if it ain't got nothing to do with them, then whatever. And of course, the scriptures say, don't be a busybody in other man's matter. But what did the Lord say the whole duty of man was? Because a lot of our people think that we're wasting energy going into this stuff. What is the whole duty of man? What is our job as men? This is what he told us to do. This is what he told us to do. This Ecclesiastes 12, 13, and 14. I'm going to just throw this in here real quick. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. What does that mean? We're supposed to be giving you the conclusions of the whole matter of what's going on. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments. What did he say? He told Simon Peter, feed his sheep 3 times. So we out here doing these lessons and doing that because that's what the Lord told us to do. That's the whole duty of man. Go to the highways and hedges. Luke 14:23. That's the whole duty of man. So our people, like, they don't really have an understanding, like, these are the commandments of the Lord, what he told us to do. And a lot of people say they love the Lord, but they ain't out there doing what he said do. So that means that really you're not saying that you just don't love the Lord, because there's a lot of people that love the Lord, but they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. Because knowledge is tied to action. You have to do something about it. What's the point of getting all that knowledge and then you don't do what he said do? That means that you just basically like you're like the guy who took the penny, the Lord's money, and put it in his pocket and hid it. He didn't go out and really do what he said do with it. It's just like if your father gives you something and says, "Hey man, go go do something with this. Go, here's $1,000. Go do what I said do with it. And then you just still got it when you get there, like, then what? He gonna be like, hell no, I just wasted my time giving you that money. Same way with the knowledge. For this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go into some secrets of Babylon the Great. But I want to go back over here and finish this out and point out something first before we deal with it. So it says, back to Acts 17, verse 17, therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons and in the market daily with them that met with him. Right? Like it said in Proverbs, wisdom uttereth his voice, crieth out in the streets, in the chief places. So that's where he was at. You know, he was out there talking to Jake, though. So it says, then certain philosophers and Epicureans, and really when you and Stoics, these are people who you know how Stoic is to be like, not showing no emotions, encountered him. And some said, what will this babbler say? Right? Some of them mocked him. Others, he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, right? Because a lot of people, they didn't believe in Yahawashi. A lot of our people still don't believe in Yahawashi because he preached unto them Yahawashi and the resurrection, right? And that's what they was mad about. They was mad about the fact that they had kept the law. Of course, nobody kept the law, but they kept the law to the best of their abilities. They were still in the high seats and, as devout men of Israel. And they were mad that they were hearing that Israelites that were scattered and cast out would be basically grafted back into the priesthood. That's why they were like, that don't make no sense. That's going off. That's why they were saying that. They didn't understand the spirit. Verse 19, and they took him and brought him into Areopagus, saying, may we know what this new doctrine whereof thou speakest is. That's why I said that one scripture says, sing us a new song. It's talking about Yahawashi coming and dying for the elect. And just like the younger brother that, he reports to the camp, he mentioned the four pillars of the earth. A lot of people don't understand when it talks about those four pillars of the earth, it's talking about those men. There's passages where it's talking about those 144,000 elect men. It ain't really talking about four poles that's fucking connecting the earth. Like, that's talking about the men. Okay? The rulership, because they're the ones who built the earth with Yahawashi. And we got lessons on that, but we ain't gonna go too far into it. It's we got to break down a lot of stuff for that. But we got videos on it. For thou bringing certain strange, right, things to our ears, we would know, therefore, what these things mean. For all the Athenians and the strangers which were there spent their time in nothing else but either to tell or hear some new thing. So they were always, into the scriptures. And when it talks about these strangers, those are talking about Israelite foreigners. I ain't talking about because the Romans and them wasn't really worried about what the fuck we was talking about. Them Edomites over there wasn't worried about what the fuck we were saying. It might have been a couple of them. You're going to have your vocab Malones and, you're going to have a couple people trying to go into it. But most of them, they don't think that we know what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Especially in that time, because we wasn't nowhere near the end. Now that we're near the end and they're seeing all this stuff, now that's why you finally seeing damn Christians in the church trying to pull out Revelation. Now you see them doing videos talking about the mark of the beast is the RFDI chip. Now you see them doing that shit because now they seeing that shit coming. But before then, like back in that time, man, they didn't take us serious at all, man. They was like them the slaves. We ain't worried about them. Only people that was involved really was Israel. And then you had them, you had those small hats that was in Samaria trying to act like they was the people, just like they always have. They always trying to act like they is. So now we're going to go to Sermon on Mars Hill. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, ye men of Athens, I perceive that all ye are too superstitious. What does that mean to be superstitious? What does that mean? And this is how most of our people are here. Like they just too much of this. I'm gonna show you. It's way too just going way too hard. This how our people were towards Paul and the believers of Yahawashi. They was just like doing too much.
G1174, Dicydaimon.
Right. So it says in a good sense, it could be reverencing God or the gods, right? Because when you go into it, the Lord said in Psalms, he said, ye are gods, but he's talking about ultimately them 144,000 elect men. You know, that's government, you know. But you know, a lot of us didn't understand that back then what that meant. It wasn't revealed. So it says in the bad sense, superstitious, right? So it says more religious than others, too superstitious. See, they're doing too much of that shit. That's what it's saying. Just like going too deep with it. Like, and Micah had talked about that he would bring a ruler to Israel. That's how he was going to rule. He's going to die for the elect, because those are the only ones that was going to believe in him. He said, "He believe on me, going to be saved." But the Lord, it said when you go to Isaiah 28, Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 28, 9 and 10. Let me just double check. Yeah, I think it is. No, not that one. It's it's Isaiah 28 or Isaiah 29 verse 9 and 10. It talked about they staggered but not with strong drink. And then you go to 10, it said for the Lord to put on you the spirit of deep sleep. So whoever was the elect was the ones he didn't put that spirit on. So you don't get a choice to believe in Yahawashi or not. They at the church talking about some, oh yeah, I gave my life to Christ. I decided to do it. No, you fucking didn't. The Lord chose that shit. That's how you know somebody like that saying that don't even know what scriptures is really saying. And the Lord put them in this deep sleep, thinking they saved. We're gonna find out them sirens start going on. So it says, because it says he who endure to the end shall be saved. Ain't nobody saved right now. We're gonna see. So it says, I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious. For I passed by and beheld your devotions. I found an altar with this inscription, to the unknown power, right? And says God, but it's just saying to the unknown power, whom ye therefore ignorantly worship, him I declare unto you. He's trying to tell you, like, who is the Heavenly Father and Son? Yahawah Shemawashai. That's what he was telling them. We know his name is Yahawah because when you go in the book of Exodus, he said that his name Yahawah was not known to them. But you got the J's and the U's in it. You got to take all that out and go back to the Paleo Hebrew to understand that. You got to go back to the Rawchaa Qadash. Verse 14, the Most High that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in the temple made with hands, because he said the kingdom of heaven is within us. Okay? But not everybody has the same ranking. There's ranking. So you're going to have certain men that have more gifts, more talents, more, more understanding and whatever. Okay? And the Lord does have favors. That's why you had the 12 disciples. Then you just had regular disciples. Then you got just believers. He's got his favorites who was like, you're going to play a part in my movie more than some other people. So it says, neither has worship with men's hands as though he need anything, seeing that he giveth to all life and breath and all things, and he hath made one blood of all nations, and have made one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth. Okay. And when they try to say that, they say, oh, we all got the same blood. Nah, we don't, because he wouldn't have separated all the nations. He wouldn't have separated all of them and their ethnicities. You know, if it really wasn't a big deal, he wouldn't have had Noah when he came down. He would have just had one son, and everybody would have came out of the same lineage. He just saying basically that, you know, we all have life. It said life is in the blood. That doesn't mean that we from the same bloodline. Okay, he separated the sons of Adam. That's what he said in Deuteronomy 32. So Jake don't, you know, if Jake don't get it, it's because the Lord had put you in the spirit of deep sleep. It ain't got nothing to do with you being smart. It just means that the Lord don't want you to figure it out so you can die here. And have made him one blood, right, of one blood, all nations of men that dwell on the face of the earth, and have determined the times before appointed. So when, you know, you have certain people be like, oh, well, Jacob did this, took Esau's birthright. That wasn't right. No, yeah, it was. That's why it happened like that. The Lord has already determined those times and what you're doing right now. Jake still believes that there's free will, but it says all the times have been appointed. He said that a sparrow not going to even fall out of the sky without his approval. So if it's that deep, then how about more your ass that's walking in the earth? It's definitely rigged. So it says, in the bounds of their habitation, right? See, that they should seek the Lord and happily, happily that, or heart, I think it's happily, they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us, for in whom we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. This is only going into Israelites, man. But we're going to go into this word habitation. And then we're going to go into the Old Testament to show you what it's saying. Everything was already said. If everything was already said, then that means that whatever we're seeing on the earth, the Lord ordained that to happen that way. Okay? That's how this goes. I'm going to go to this.
Katoikia.
Katoikia. Right? Dwell. To send or bring into an abode. See, nothing gets here without it being plotted out by the Heavenly Father and you put there to give a dwelling to. Wherever you at in the earth is where the Lord put you. It ain't where you decided to go. But Jake, he wants this sense of like, you know, Jake wants a sense of freedom. Like he gets to make his own decisions. Like he's like, I'm doing this. I did this, you know? And to a sense, you can say that. But the only reason why you did it is because the Lord set you there and made you do that. That's what we're saying. Like, that's why I said the heart, which is your mind, is deceitful above all things. Who can know it? You don't really know why you do what you do. You know, that's Yahawashi. That's how Yahawashi works. You know, because if you know, if it really wasn't up to him, shit, everybody would repent. If you learned what the hell he coming with, you would repent quickly. But he put his spirit in people not to repent. But let me go to that scripture. Hold on. It's just like a director in the movie. He gonna go put whatever he want in there. And the actor, you know, it make it look like the actor is doing everything on his own, but he's not. He's being directed. And if he don't do what he said he was gonna do, he don't do the actor part, he ain't gonna be in the movie. A lot of the movie is a lot of people to disagree with this, man. So this is Psalms 89:14. Justice and and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thy face. So let's go read this. Okay. It's either Assyrian Hebrew or it's Arabic Hebrew. It looks like Assyrian. Yeah, this is Assyrian. This is Assyrian Hebrew. I'm getting better at being like, learning the italics. We've been studying a little bit more on that. So we're going to look at the word habitation because you want to go to the root word of these things. They got another root word. We'll go to it, see what it say. But, you yeah, okay.
Machon.
You see in Acts 17, he's talking about setting the habitations, appointing the times, right? So then you go back to the Old Testament and you go to this word and it says fixed or established place. Foundation, fixed place. It's fixed. See? Especially as an abode. That's what it said over there. Okay? With that word habitation in the Greek. So the word habitation has not changed. Okay? It's just been watered down. Okay? It's just like if you got a zoo habitat, everything that's within the zoo habitat was placed. Same way with us. Even when you go to the root word, to be arranged, to be settled, furnish. This is what he did. Okay? So you can't say the Lord created everything and then he just lets you do what the fuck you want to do. That would make sense. Because when something comes to creation, you're going to make everything inside and out what it's going to do and what it's not going to do. Period. But his thoughts are not our thoughts, so you really can't take that and understand that on a level like he can grasp it. But we know this. The Lord is in control. And people be saying that shit and then be like, they got free will. That don't make sense. Okay? So everything that we're about to going into this MK Ultra stuff, this is all the Lord framed all this. So you got to understand, like we said, everything Esau does, the Lord framed Esau, even the so-called white man, to create weapons. He weaponizes everything. And, he shows you what he's going to do in the movies. Okay? So we're going to go to this. We're going to go to this first. We're going to watch this little clip. And we're going to pause it a little bit in it. It's not going to have no sound because we don't need the sound. But this girl, Nina, I think it's Kulagina or something. I don't know. But this is really that movie Stranger Things is about this girl, and it was like a real CIA operation. Okay, because everybody hears about this operation I'm finna go into, but we're gonna go into a real account of it and show video. So you can see and ChatGPT didn't say it was fake. They're like, they really did this shit. Okay, it's history. Okay. And they always act like they didn't find nothing. Yeah, they did. Okay. That's why they're making the MOTB, because they know it's going to control minds. Okay. That thing's going to be connected to your nervous system. It's going to get you, they're going to tell you they want to be like the Most High. They like I said, he said, judgment is the habitation of his throne. They're trying to be like the Most High. How they going to do that? Tap into your damn brain and then tell you what to do. Okay? And this is what they've been doing for a long time. Everybody worry about how much money they got. You need to worry about make sure Yahawah outside don't put the spirit on you to allow these people to control you. You don't take that MOTB. So you can see her moving it, right? She's like moving it with her hand and shit, but we're going to show you a video of them like showing that they got experiments on it. So, right, so he say Project MK Ultra, we heard of it. Let's go to it. MK Ultra was a secret program run by the Central Intelligence Agency, right? CIA during the Cold War, mainly from the 1950s to the early 1970s. See, this is real. This ain't no fake ass shit. A lot of people be looking at this like it's conspiracy. Like, this is fact. Okay. It even goes into how they got took down. Okay. So this is about the goal of MK Ultra was to explore mind control and psychological manipulation. They do that in movies and everything, man. Okay. And Stranger Things is basically the life of this girl. But you know, they probably fabricated, they fabricated and did a whole bunch of extra shit. But it's really talking about this girl. And who knows on what went on down there, bro? Who knows? Who knows? Because there's been some, hey, the Lord has framed and allowed some evil shit to happen on this place, man. To happen out here so it can be judged. You don't want to take this stuff lightly. So it says the goal of MK Ultra was to explore mind control and psychological manipulation, especially methods that could be used in interrogation, espionage, or warfare. Like I said, everything that they got, that's how they're, this is what they use to weaponize. That's why they have in this one movie they got this one movie they it was called The Divergent, and they had 4 factions, and one of them was called Cantor, and there was about the truth. And basically, if you went in there and you would come on trial, they get this truth serum and put the serum on them and make you tell the truth, whatever you were saying. And if not, it would like basically fuck you up, like it would hurt you. You know what I'm saying? The more you resist telling the truth, it would like basically it would kill you if you didn't tell the truth. Okay, they got medicine like that. So it says espionage or warfare. The program was influenced by fears that rival nations like Soviet Union and China were developing similar technologies, and they probably do got something like that. You know. So it says what they did. Experiments under MK Ultra included giving people drugs like LSD, often without their knowledge, studying hypnosis and sensory deprivation. Right. That's why when you go in there, we're gonna play a little bit more of this to show you. When you go in there, that's why you know, when she tries to go into this like little area where she's like in the spirit world, seeing people and shit and being able to find people, they put this they like basically cover their eyes and try to like channel them somewhere else and shit. Okay. And the Lord even said, he said, you know, not to summon spirits, familiar spirits from the dead. That's what happened when Samuel went to that witch. So you got to understand, this shit ain't fake. Like, people can actually conjure spirits and shit. Like, that's not fake. That's real. Okay. So, of course, it says what we already seen. We're going to point something out, though. It's just going slow. Right? See, they cover up, you do all that. Hold up. So see, the whole movie of Stranger Things 5, it looks like that. It looks like, you know, she's a test experiment, right? It's talking about this girl. So they're showing you some of the stuff they did to this girl, okay? To try to like unlock her damn brain or something. Because a lot of them, they do it through pain. See? MK Ultra 1953, it says electroshocks, hypnosis, and other forms of torture. That's what they were doing there. Okay? You don't got no fear of the Lord, and he's letting Esau do shit like that to people. I'm telling you, Jake, there's a lot of shit you wouldn't believe the Lord letting Esau do right now, man. And it's gonna be some stuff that you ain't gonna be. You're gonna be like, man, Esau gotta go. Yeah, our people right now are arguing, talking about, you know, we get in trouble for something, we go to court and we have to pay the fines and stuff, and they be like, yeah, you better hold yourself accountable for it. Yeah, well, Esau, even the so-called white man, he better hold himself accountable for all the shit he did, because there's a bunch of stuff that he did and he ain't got punished for it yet. So we're trying to say, like, that's how our people are. They look at every single little thing that we do wrong, but they ain't got nothing to say about Esau because he's got all the money. But when he started showing that wicked stuff he do, shit, Jake gonna realize that we weren't the enemy. You were, because you believing what Esau, because he's the fucking enemy. So it says studying hypnosis and sensory deprivation using electroshock and other psychological techniques. That's why you have psychiatrists. Okay, all this stuff is they've studied all this. They know how to control your brain, Jake. This is what they're saying. Testing ways to influence or control behavior. They already did it with the crack epidemic. People's out there bugging out. Okay, now they're doing it with fentanyl. Okay, this is all stuff that was made from Esau, man. Okay, and we're not talking about like the actual elements of it. They're taking it and enhancing it and weaponizing it. That's what we're telling you they're doing with it. Many of these experiments were conducted without informed consent. So that's what they did. This is fact. Esau, even the so-called white man here in America, Babylon the Great, was forcefully doing this to people. And these are the same people that when we go to court and stuff, people act like these guys are the law. People act like these guys are righteous. No, they're not. No, they're not. So before you start looking at us like we just damn demons out here, like just because we saying Yahawashi is going to destroy this fucking place. No. We are the righteous standing up for this, for the truth. Okay, they got to pay for stuff like this. They did. And they did it more than just this girl. This is the only one that they just documented. Okay, because when you go in the movie, it's more than just her. It's like a whole bunch of children in there. Okay, they were doing this. Okay, this is what we're telling you. All this evil stuff is going to be revealed, and they're doing it through movies right now because they're trying to show you subliminally that they're demons, and you need to pick which side you on, because they're finna chip everybody, and they want to do this to you, control your ass. So it says, why is it controversial? Some subjects were unaware they were part of experiments. There are reports of lasting psychological harm. In one famous case, scientist Frank Olson died after secretly dosed with LSD. See, they had cases on this shit. They had stuff they didn't reveal to the public. Okay, and all this, we're gonna go into it. MK Ultra was officially halted by the 1970s, which means they were done with their experiments. They did it for 20 years. They didn't need no more evidence. Okay, this stuff was funded. Okay, you ain't got no money. There ain't no way you gonna be in some secret lab for 20 years and damn Esau don't know about it. Okay, like Jake be out here with 2 ounces of weed in his house, and the whole SWAT team come running in there for his ass. Ain't nobody gonna be here experiment on children and torturing them and electromagnetic shocking them and for 20 years, and then it got halted. No, they learned everything they need to know. It became widely known after investigations such as the Church Committee in 1975, which exposed various CIA abuses because they was just going ham with it. And really, they didn't even care. They were just like, nah, you're going to get it to the point where, like, we still trying to act like we the righteous. We still trying to act like we the God's people. We can't get caught doing all this shit. We got to slow this shit down. Okay? And you got to remember the whole thing with that thing that they talking about Epstein Island. That's been going on since the 40s. Okay? 1940s. Okay? We did a video on it. We ain't gonna talk about it too much, but it says not all the claims you might hear are supported by evidence, right? Because they're about evidence. That's what they're about. They want you to be able to take it to their court system. That's fucking wicked as shit. You could be a damn killer. You got $2 million. You get out of it. You know the right people too. You're gonna have to have the right people to know, but you can get out of it. You just have a certain president come president and pardon your ass. That's what he's saying. Like, you understand this place is nah. It said everything evil is gonna be revealed. That's what we doing. So whatever you watching is tied to some real wicked shit they did out here. That's what we saying. You got kids out here like, that's my favorite show. You don't even know what it's talking about. It's talking about brainwashing your ass. So it says the phrase CIA mind control user refers to claims that, right, they develop techniques to manipulate and control people's thoughts and behavior. The best documented program connected to this is Project MK Ultra, but they had another project we're gonna go into and show you where one they actually tested it, a real facility. We're gonna show you pictures and everything. So we went into that, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Let's go right here. Because really how you call this movie, this is what they used to call it. This is how it connects to it. What was the movie? Stranger Things. Because you remember I talked about this. I'm gonna put it in the comment board if I can go find it. I talked about this. One of the GMS brother. Can't remember exactly who it is because it was a while ago. But he was talking about a man he met, and this was actually just before it was coming around, like maybe October last year. But he was talking about there was going to be a shift, like a spiritual shift, and he was going into some stuff, and I mentioned this movie, okay, and how they dropped it and shit, okay. So they are doing psychological, man. We're trying to tell you that's why you gotta be prayed up and trust in Yahawashi, and ask him to keep your mind intact, man. So it says the movie. Wait, hold up. I'll put it on the screen in a second. What was the original name for the movie? Okay. So this is what it's really called, because they knew about this. So it says, what was the original name for the movie Stranger Things? It says Montauk. I think it's Montauk. I think it's how you say it. Was a television sci-fi horror concept created by the Duffer Brothers, right? The original iteration of the hit Netflix series Stranger Things, right? So when you go and type in this, okay, let me go type it in up here, okay. Project we're gonna show you a picture of it, okay. And when you go watch the movie, which I can't do it on here because it's gonna probably copyright me. When you watch the movie, like it looks just like that in the movie, And this place is in New York. And they called it Camp Hero is what they called it. See, look. See, the experiments that inspired Stranger Things. That's the Montauk building right there. And Montauk is in this in New York. Okay. See, Camp Hero State Park. Okay. The real life Stranger Things. This is where it come from. Okay. All these movies they making is shit they really did. Okay. They trying to make it seem like it's all super beefed up and supernatural, but it goes back to a dark, sinister 20 years of torturing fucking children and giving them LSD and shit. That's really what it's talking about. But let me see. This was uploaded January 15, 2025, so it ain't like super old. We ain't gonna watch all of it.
Take the Montauk Project, rumored to be a series of secret government experiments on children decades ago. It's said to have inspired the TV series Stranger Things. In my other career as an actress, I play a role on that show. So when I heard that new evidence may prove that the Montauk Project is true, I immediately agreed to help.
They going into it now. They're starting to point it out. They already knew what it was, but we ain't gonna go into it too much. You know, you can go watch that if you want. I just typed in the experiences, the experiments that inspire Stranger Things. So on the CW network, you know, so you know she ain't gonna go in there and tell you everything, but it's gonna show you what the building looked like and shit. And see, they're showing you that this is where it come from. Okay. They used to say it was conspiracy, but it's not. So there's a video of this girl. Okay, this is one of the ones they were doing all that too. Okay.
Began to filter through the Iron Curtain in the 60s.
You hear that? That's crazy. But you ain't talking about what I'm thinking of.
Housewife began to filter through the Iron Curtain in
What's this?
the 60s. $33-year-old Nina.
You hear that? 33 years old. There go the numbers, right? You know, every time they test something, it's always around them damn numbers. That's how you know this shit real. See how she moving that thing? And that's probably like when she just started doing it.
Even in close-up, it's hard to see how she's making the box.
After through all the electric shock therapy and all that shit they doing to her, she finally probably started doing that shit.
But it certainly is moving.
And she look dizzy and shit after doing that shit.
Dr. Rishkoff and his team built an airtight glass box for the experiments. This was to prevent any possibility of her using magnets or an electrostatic charge or even blowing objects with her breath.
That's why you had Bruce Lee. He had that one video where he was making fire with his hands and shit. Like, hey, man. Hey, supernatural stuff is about to start happening on the planet, man. And, hey, Jake, he was warned.
Again, the results were startling.
You know how tired she is doing it?
She even started to move things while we were still eating.
And this is just like little stuff. They wasn't showing the real test, like when they was in there having her trying to move heavy shit, and because she probably was having seizures and spazzing out, and you know what I'm saying? Because that's what that was happening in the movie. So we saying, man, like, who knows what went on down there? But when you go back over here, we almost done. And like it says, and this is why we don't have no verified evidence, because a lot of people, a lot of the shit got destroyed. A lot of their, you know, and they did get destroyed. They destroyed them and had copies. They got backups, all that shit. But they're not gonna tell you that they got the copies. They're gonna say that shit was destroyed. So you know, they don't have no verified evidence because a lot of shit was destroyed. It said why people still talk about it. MK Ultra became a symbol of government secrecy because many records were destroyed in 1973. Some experiments were unethical and hidden. Congressional investigations revealed real abuses. See, they was like, they really got evidence on this stuff. They just didn't get everything, you know? So, you know, this is what it's talking about. This Montauk project, okay? And they was doing it on animals too, okay? Because in the movie, there's these like weird ass creatures that they end up like spawning down there and shit. Okay, this we'll show you one. We'll show you one. So let me see. See, they just changed everything because they wanted to sound like, you know, Spielberg style Midwest Western atmosphere. They just changed the names on everything. But let me go to it. Gotta pull it up over here. And even when you look at the when you go watch the video, the you know, the little building, it looked like abandoned. You know what I'm saying? It looks like, you know what I'm saying, like just like a little tower. But everything in the movie, everything was underground. Okay. Let me just play a little bit of this so we can show it. See what I'm saying? That's what they're doing in the movie. They're giving them electromagnetic shot. See what it say? Project Nina. See? Right? Then it shows her doing all that shit. Right? Claim to have psychic powers, right? They showing them with the box, moving the shit in the box. See? That's talking about her. But you see, there's a whole bunch of kids in there. And, you know, they put that in there where it made her nose bleed because you seen when the woman, she got done moving that stuff, she was breathing hard. Like, you know what I mean? Because that shit ain't easy. Like, you know what I'm saying? They straining her brain out to do that shit. Okay? Play a little bit more. And you see, they had her where she was till she was like older. She was in there her whole life. See? There it go right there on the little thing. Nina. See? It's talking about this girl. So she must have did some extra shit. See how she pick up that big ass thing? They was having her do shit like that. It's going slow as hell, but you know it is what it is. See? It's talking about this girl. Let's see what else it got. So she was like 16. And she trying to say she trying to sue him. So you got like all types of people coming out with this shit now. See? Gonna get to the building. There it is. Cause it's going slow. See, there's the building. And it looks like that in the movie. It's talking about this place right here. And I'm trying to tell you right now, Jake, even the so-called white man did a whole bunch of evil shit in that building, man. And it was really underground. They was doing all that shit underground. That just was the outer shell of it. And it looks all rusty and shit and like it ain't nothing. So you wouldn't really think that they really in there like with a whole bunch of children in there doing that to them. This is what Esau did. And like people be like really like nonchalantly like acting like this ain't no big deal. Like if somebody abducted your children and took them down to a basement and motherfucking did electric shock on their ass, you'd be like, what the fuck? So they found this thing. Okay, they called it the Montauk Monster because it washed up on the shore. Okay, it washed up on the shore in that same area because they was doing shit to them. So I'm put a picture on there and see if I can find a better one. But this is what it looked like. Okay, and when you go look at the little dudes on the movie, you know it kind of looks like them, but you could tell they beefed it up. But like that's what this thing looks like. Okay, this is like a real situation. This thing just washed up on the shore. They got some of them where you can't even see them. It's making where you got to see them. But let me see if I can find a good one before I get on there and show y'all. Yeah, see, they saying some of them is, illicit content. So I ain't going to show it on my other page because they might take it off. But if you go type it in, they found this weird looking creature and it has some unordinary teeth. And I don't think it was like a big one, but they probably had some bigger ones. Okay. But if you go type it in, you go look yourself. But this is what the Lord said they was going to be doing. So when I was saying yesterday, them newly created beasts, the Lord is giving Esau the power to do those great wonders and bring him into earth. Because what he wants to do is make it to where when Jacob's trouble happens, he spawns all this shit out here and it scares your ass into taking that MOTB, man. I told you the Lord put Esau, he takes everything and turns it into a weapon. That's animals, every fucking thing. Okay? Because the Lord, he goes by rules. Like he does not going to do anything unnatural. Okay? It's got to be natural. There's only one way man's coming into the earth. Okay? And you can, you have particular situations where, you could, through prophecy, things that were told would happen had happened. But, even those men at their beginnings were through birth, okay, through seed line, bloodline. So we're gonna go right here. That wasn't even where I was at. I want to go to Wisdom of Solomon. Yeah, there it goes. Why would it take me there? Took me to Genesis for some reason. Yeah, it did. Why would it do that? Let's try here. Okay, we'll go here. So it says right here, Wisdom of Solomon. It's gonna be my last precept, and then we gone. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 11:17. For the almighty hand that made the world of matter without form, one or not means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, right? And that's kind of twofold. It can mean, two different things. But we're just gonna stick with the fact it's talking about bears and lions. But when you go into more history and go into who is being depicted of in Revelation, then you can also mention that in other ways, but we ain't gonna go that deep. Verse 18, or unknown wild beasts, full of rage, newly created, right? Breathing out either a fiery vapor or filthy scents of scattered smoke, shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. So a lot of this stuff is gonna be created by Esau, man, because the Lord, that's what he taught him to do, to be a weapon and create weapons. That's what his name literally fucking means. He had a son, his son, Tubal Cain. Okay, and Tubal Cain literally means traveling weapon. That's what they do. They travel and they build weapons out of everything. They even got like those little leaves that spin from the trees. They even got those to where it'll shoot your ass. Like they got that. Okay. Esau ain't playing. He really out there experimenting on that stuff. So, I just wanted to point that out. That a lot of this stuff we watching, Jake, there's stuff behind it that's way darker and sinister than what we know. So that's what we exposing, to show you that, more wicked stuff that they doing out here, and give you a full breakdown of, why now that we're saying this place has got to be destroyed, why we're revealing the wicked, why why this is causing the uproar in the earth. You got all these Christians now talking about we not Amalek, they Amalek. Nah, your ass is Edomites too. Y'all in trouble with their ass. for doing this shit. So, hey, Lord willing us edifying to the flock. Want to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to those and apostles of great Milson. Let us all to this truth. Peace and blessing to the elect. Wa Abba Abba, Kwam Yasharala, Shabbat Shalom.